to give that report by July 1st, and he gave me a deadline of July 30th. It will be in his hands between those 2 days, because I'm still doing some work. What I have done since receiving that review is go through serially each of the issues that were raised about a lot of different perceived problems with the Park District, questions concerning the Park District. So I've taken a look at all of the minutes. I think I have reviewed every minute of this Park District Board, with the exception of 2008, because the 2008 minutes are still missing. But I have taken a look from the very first day when Judge Lavridge, who was the probate court judge at the time, in a request from the township trustees, created your Park District under Chapter 1545. I've gone through all of the records that were available from the county auditor's office. Peg here has been very forthcoming with all of the records. My office has 2 big boxes full of things, so I've been going through those. But most importantly, I've talked to all of the public officials who have a stake in this. All of the commissioners, I'm just meeting tonight, the 2 new commissioners, welcome. I talked to the township trustees. I have talked to some of the original Park District commissioners, Bruce Melziner. I've talked to Ms. Mula, some of the past Chester Township trustees. I have talked to park commissioners in Lake County, in Geauga County. I'm from Russell, just down the street, so I just met with their fiscal officer, and I've met with the fiscal officer here in Chester. I talked to one of the township trustees in Russell about their park district, as well as one of their park commissioners. So I'm trying to get a full understanding of what it takes to properly run a park district. Just another little bit of history so that you understand legal history about park districts. Your park district is created under Chapter 1545 of the Revised Code. There are 2 kinds of park districts. There's a 511 park district, and most of the parks in Geauga County are 511 park boards. They're appointed by the township trustees. They're really run by the township. Your park district is a fully freestanding political body, separate and apart from the township trustees, and that's the way it was created under Chapter 1545. So with that bit of introduction, my purpose tonight is to get input from the most important stakeholders, and those are the members of the public who use the park. I have received, just so that everyone knows, I've received some correspondence, and I'm still, if you are a little shy about talking in public, but you would like to submit any of your ideas, questions, comments to me, you can do so in writing. My address was listed in the public notice for this, but I received correspondence from Judy Caputo, from Margaret Muelling, from Linda Barnes Gifford, and Mrs. Gardner. So those will be part of my report to Judge Brendel as well. So I'm going to sit down and stop talking, and I'd like to hear from you. And I'll turn it back over to the chairman to recognize people, maintain some semblance of order.
Thanks, Mary Jane, for the prelude to what we're going to do. And as she had mentioned that we have 3 or 4 written letters or correspondence regarding the park. But if there's someone in the audience that would like to stand, identify yourself, and ask whatever question you feel that might be on your mind to either the board or to Mary Jane Trapp. So that being said, can we call upon the audience to stand and recite whatever it is that has brought you here tonight? Yes, Mike.
I'm Mike Joyce, I'm former trustee and was president of the chairman. Gratefully, when the park board did what they did a phenomenal job for Chester in rebuilding it. I personally feel that this is an attack that should not have been made. I would also like to mention that the other attack on the 80 acres has been found to be groundless and has been completely exonerating the board that was in place. That was the board of former trustee Caputo, former trustee Clay Lawrence, and myself. I'm expecting this one will be similar, but I cannot say how much I support the board and all the work that they have done in behalf of Chester and the improvements that they have made. We have had nothing but an extreme amount of positive feedback on the park and what they've done to it.
Thank you very much, Mike. Yes, Judy.
I guess I'd like to follow up because I think it's
Judy,
important.
could you introduce yourself?
I'm sorry, Judy Caputo, 12982 Lynn Drive, a former trustee also.
Thank you.
For the first time in the 8 years that I was a trustee, I'm seeing kids over here. And I commend you for taking out the time to come to a meeting like this. And I think that, correct me if I'm wrong, and I would like to hear you guys speak, because what I see is I see volleyball going on. I see the expansion of putting in, while I was a trustee, 3 new volleyball courts. The baseball diamond, the pavilion that was done on a grant, the cleaning up of the park. When you see these kids playing at 10:30 at night, volleyball, like Grindel said, like Judge Grindel said, they're not at the corner hanging out. They're over here. They're having fun. They've been having volleyball practices at 10 o'clock in the morning. I cannot tell you how much of an increase I have seen in my 8 years of being a trustee in the revitalization of this park. And I am so proud of the park board and everyone concerned. I think it's pitiful when people take cheap shots. And I think it's about time that the residents understand what type of attacks go behind the scenes to try to destroy volunteers in your community that have stepped up to the plate to do what is right for the community instead of attacking and tearing down anything that is positive in this community. I mean, for once you see the gazebo painted, things being done, and people enjoying it. And so I thank you guys, because it's been a lot of hard work and a lot of frustration. And you know, I really want to say thank you.
Thank you, Judy. Thank you very much. Yes, Your Honor.
And Terry Stupika, I'm here to vote in my official capacity, really, I don't say in my official capacity, but here to speak as a judge, but more importantly as a mother. I'm a mother to 2, but I'm a mother probably to about 200. You know, my house is the hang for a lot of my son and his friends, and when they're not at my house or at Chipotle, they are at the park. They're either playing baseball or they're playing volleyball. Unfortunately, we don't have a basketball court like the Commons. I hope that maybe that's in the works, because it's a great place for these great kids to hang out. You're unfortunately competing with the NBA draft here. Otherwise, I know there probably would be quite a few other young adults here. But I am proud of them for coming here, because I know on behalf of many of them, my son has written a letter that he will give to Ms. Trapp. On the flip side, as judges, Judge Grindel briefly mentioned, he sees the youth. I see youth too. You know, at 52, anyone under 30 is young to me. But if they're not doing healthy activities like playing volleyball or baseball or basketball, the clean fun, where do you want them to go? What activities do you want them to get into? I wish everyone could see from my vantage point for one day how drugs and alcohol affect the youth. Not adults as well, but we need healthy, clean, good fun. So my hat's off to the park board for doing this. Last Saturday, I was at an event here. I spoke. There was a group of 5 or 6 churches that asked me to speak to the group, but all the little kids were playing in the park there. It's a wonderful environment. I'm proud from that aspect to say I'm a resident of Chester. So I thank you, and I know they want to send a letter. So thanks.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you very much.
We have our students identify themselves, because it takes a lot for anybody under the age of 52. And the draft to come out, and it really says something, means something to me to have young folks at public meetings. It's a sign of good citizenship.
I'm Brian Pullen. I'm 19 years old.
I'm Junior Camp. I'm Terry's son. And I just wanted to piggyback on what Ms. Pito said and my mom. We spend probably 2 to 3 nights a week here, just hanging out and playing volleyball, doing whatever. And from my point of view, like, I'm looking at you guys. Would you guys rather us, sit here and play volleyball on Fridays and Saturday nights till 11:30 at night, or go out to a house party and do what college and high school kids could do on Fridays and Saturday nights? That's just the way I look at it. We're coming here, we're 100 yards from the police station, just hanging out and having fun.
I'm Michael Archibald. I'm 16 years old.
Kendall Sexton, 15. Brianna Sexton, 18 years old.
Roger Ganger, 19 years old.
I'm Kel Souza, 19 years old, and I just wanted to say, I tend to set up a lot of the volleyball games that we have and the softball games, and I get texted probably 4 out of 5 weekdays and weekends saying, please set something up tonight, I'm bored, I want to do something tonight. And like, even when we can't, there's always like, everybody's texting me. It happens a lot where we come out here, like even like, it's like 7, 8 o'clock, I text a couple of people, and then word gets out. Like, I've met a lot of new people playing volleyball too. It's got to know my fellow citizens of Chester, and I love it. Something would be the same if we weren't out here, if we didn't have the parks to use.
I'm Michael Duffy. I'm 19 years old.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for those comments. They're certainly appreciated. We would like to, yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Stand and introduce yourself, please.
Sharon Austin, 11490 Christine Drive. Judge Trapp, could you please give just a short overview of why this review is going on? That I don't really think it's an attack on the park board. I think the park board and our Lions Club, Kiwanis, all of the different organizations in Chester do a wonderful job of making things available for our youngsters, our high school, college age kids, and for the adults during Christmas. Okay? So we have the great park board, great civil organizations that help us. So if you can give just a little background so that everybody knows that this is not a lynching of the 3 members of the park board, because right now that's what it's sounding like.
Well, I am very careful, having been a judge and now in this role as a master commissioner. I'm a neutral. I don't even live in Chester. I use the park. I drive by here all the time. I love the park. But I'm a neutral in terms of what's been presented and my role here. This document was, it's reported to me that this document was prepared by 2 residents of Chester. It's called the Chester Township Park District Review, and that's what I'm calling it, is a review. I don't label it as an attack, an indictment. It's a review. It raises questions and concerns and makes observations. My charge from Judge Grindell, and this was presented, I believe, individually to each one of the township trustees and to the fiscal officer. It made its way to Judge Grindell, since everybody probably wonders, why in the world is the probate judge involved in this? Well, the state law gives oversight of park districts to the probate judge. That's their authority. That's why Judge Grindell appoints all of the folks that are here. and has a number of things to, created the Park District. The Judge Lavridge created the Park District. So that's how the probate court gets involved. So as I understood that this made its way to Judge Grindell, and Judge Grindell, under his authority, can appoint what's called a master commissioner. I'm sort of like a magistrate. I can hold court hearings. I can issue subpoenas, and I've been very happy in this review of the review, as I'm calling it, that I haven't had to issue one subpoena. People have dropped what they are doing and have spent countless numbers of hours with me, giving me every access to every document that I could ever want. I will also tell you that in conjunction with this review, your new fiscal officer, when he took office, asked for an audit of the township for last year, 2013. As part of that audit, it was discovered that at the initial discussion about the audit, it was discovered, and I discovered independently, so we got together and realized that the Park District had never been audited. And that's underway as well. The state's going to audit the Park District. So that's how this came to be. And I would urge all of you not to talk about it as an attack. You may have your own opinions. Use what I use. It's the review. And we'll take it from there.
Should we identify who the two that...
I will tell you, it is anonymous. It is not signed by anyone. It was reported to me that Mr. and Mrs. Cotman delivered this document individually to each one of the trustees in the fiscal office. But that's, I report the facts. I see one of our fire chief. Is everything cool? I mean, you got tons of people in your parking lot, so I want to make sure everything's all right.
Yes, Karen.
Is the review the initial document? That is public record right now, correct?
Sure. It's been presented to me, and it will be Exhibit A to my report that I give to Judge.
Okay, and yours will be public record also.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Pat Neola, 8545 Carmichael, is a former park board member in the late 80s and a former trustee, 2006. I'm saddened that this has happened this way. I served on the park board for 3 or 4 years. We cobbled together, Mr. Lawrence was a trustee then, we cobbled together monies to try to do the plantings and improve the park. And the same thing with the bathroom facilities. In the past few years, I've noticed some things going into demise. And this board picked up the ball, recognized what needed to be improved upon, repaired, increased, additional volleyball courts and stuff like that. And
Attention Chester for a residential fire alarm.
And when someone takes a position to criticize a volunteer board, I'm saddened that the elected officials did not come to the board, discuss the matter in public, obviously, and settle it and have the questions answered. Instead of taking the route that we have now come to today, which is to me not favorable to our community. I love you, Mary Jane Trapp, but I don't think that anybody should have been appointed a master commissioner to address something that was written without documentation to support what's there. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat. For those that may or may not be totally aware of the park board and its commissioners, as it's been stated, we're all volunteers. And I've been privileged to be on the board. This is my 2nd year with profoundly passionate other commissioners and Peggy, that you all have no idea, you absolutely no idea, how could you, of the hundreds, I'm saying hundreds of hours that we have donated to the township to manifest the park in the best possible state. So not only have we individually, not collectively, individually, have hundreds of hours each year, but hundreds and hundreds of our own dollars that we have put in. And again, we're not paid, we get zero. In fact, we tease each other about getting raises from this zero to this one and this one. So we're not paid, but I think it's important that you all realize, and just to make me feel better, probably, because I got profoundly frustrated when this document came to light, because I know how hard these 4 people have worked. And so when you have given your all, your blood, sweat, tears, money, and time, and then somebody makes alleged references or innuendos or remarks that compromise your reputation, that's hard to take. It really is. So I don't know what the other trustees might want to say, but I just had to say what was on my mind, that I can't put in words how disappointing it is and how it can suck the life right out of you when you've given what I mentioned and somebody attacks you like that. So it's just been hard for me, and I don't know, Joe, if you care to make any remarks about how you felt, Peggy?
I kind of like to hear some of the others.
Well, I want that also, but...
I mean, you know,
yeah, I do.
Yeah, you do.
Gosh.
You know, I'm really proud of what we've done, and ironically, sometimes I think all the fun that we have together doing this isn't appreciated, because we do. We have a lot of fun doing it. Putting toilet paper in the bathrooms.
That's fun.
That's my job. Peggy carries it. No, we have fun. We have fun, and I see like Peyton's son Joe out here, who's come and helped us on some of our cleanup things, and our other boy. But those boys back there are my joy. Seeing them, okay? Seeing them in that park when I see my nephew Kurt. Uncle Joe, what are you doing? I was trying to climb up and get something. He says, maybe I should help you. Well, I've learned maybe Kurt should help me. Okay. Or when I see this, my daughter Wendy, I'm extremely proud of. My grandchildren play in the park there, and I see them. It's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing to see the joy, the concerts, the volleyball. These kids are unbelievably passionate about their volleyball.
Chesterfest.
So, I mean, this is what it's about. It's this town. This park belongs to this town. I said, Eugene DeFrank was back there. I'm going to embarrass him. But he put the infield in for us. Eugene sat one night and talked to us for 3 hours about this park because he has such passion for it. Joe Mazurko, Bill Marks. How many times have I called you and Tom Basista and his brother Ron to come? And I don't want to be forgetting anybody. Bob with the horseshoes. It's such a joy to see those guys. Then I go back in the minutes and I realize you built the pavilion with Joe's dad. You know, and I see that stuff. That's what it's about. John South with the Chesterfest. I mean, it's a wonderful thing to see, you know, and to be part of. And it belongs to this town. Of course, I got my niece over there, Beth. I still got your baby picture, too. But no, but I see she's Kurt's mother. But the point is, these kids love this town and they love this park. But it's not just for the kids. When you see the seniors, the Christmas stuff, Rena Canner, who helped us with Christmas from the Rotary. I mean, Rena's a straw boss. You better do what she asks you. And she sends us a text saying, I'm sorry, can't be there. I'm in the hospital with a blood clot. But you know I support you. And I shouldn't be saying that probably, but it's the truth. So that's what it's about. It belongs to the people of this town. And you know something? We're stubborn, and we're going to keep going.
But there's something to be said over the fact that you all may have seen us at different times, but collectively, and it's almost embarrassing, but collectively between Peggy and Joe and Clay and myself, we might go through the park 5, 6, 7, 8 times a day. Why? Is because we're looking for anything that we can do to make better or help someone, but also to maintain the appearance of the park. So the fact that so many people are so passionate and diligent about and the pride that they have in the park, the fact that the park is so clean, it's unbelievable. And while we pick up broken branches from windstorms and so forth, but not a lot of paper cans and things and boxes are picked up. I mean, the people that engage in the park have the courtesy of maintaining it themselves. And if some of you all are here, we want to say thank you for your due diligence and the pride that you take in maintaining a pristine park. So, Mary Jane, I'd like to turn it back to you.
Any other comments?
Yes,
This is
could you?
Simon Bassista, West Java Plaza. In 40 years that my family's been involved with community, I can honestly say, at least from my perspective,
3405.
that I've never seen the park appear a little better than it has the last 2 years. I live in when you drive up 306, turns down, you approach the park, and you see that sign, you see the flagpole, you see all the improvements that we're doing. It's a huge sense of pride for me. That truly is enjoyable. My regret is the park wasn't bigger in the center of town. I look forward to what the park board is able to do in the future, especially the opportunity that presents itself up north with the 80 acres. So I appreciate all of this.
Thank you, Doug. Thank you very much. Is everybody able to hear when we speak? Are we okay with that? Oh, Bob, would you stand and introduce yourself?
Bob Loppenslager, I represent the Horseshoe Club. I feel I could say a few words, but you guys have been super good to us over the years. I joined this Horseshoe Club in 1974, and it had been in existence for a couple of years before that. I'm not sure exactly when it started, but so I've been with it for 40 years, and I'm nobody else that's started it is around anymore. But one fellow, Earl Kilselman, is still living, I think, he's about 87 years old. He lives in Kent, last I heard. Or I don't know he's still alive, but everybody else has kind of moved on. But the park board has been wonderful to us. I'm not sure when all this started. When did the park board come into existence?
1984.
84. So the trustees originally gave us the land, and we, park Horseshoe Club, we put in the courts, and we built the pavilion. We did get a grant for that through the park board. And last year, the park board gave us a new shed, and we put the new backboards on, and so we've just been very, very grateful. So I want to know that.
Bob, before you sit down, I want to ask you a question. Stand back up. Correct me if I'm wrong. In the division that you throw horseshoes in your division, whatever that means, I've been told that you're a world champion. Is that correct?
Well, that was a long time ago.
Well, but you're a past world champion?
At the time, I was throwing from 40 feet, and after 60, you can throw from 40 feet. And I did win the Class A senior champion class for a couple of years. And but now I've moved up to, after 70, you can move up to 30 feet.
Sort of like a gold team.
Thank you very much, Bob. Wendy, would you please? Wendy, I think Wendy was.
My name is Wendy Asher, and for full disclosure, this is my father, Joe Weiss. I grew up though in Chesterland. I graduated from West Geauga High School. I now work in the office with my dad, and I just would like to say that I know Clay and Lance, and obviously my father and Peggy very well. I see them coming and going in the office.
every day, and just the amount of hours and time that they've spent for this community is astounding. And the attention to detail, I feel the level of integrity that they show. I mean, my dad really does, when I'm at the office, he cruises the park 3 times a day. I gotta go check it out. And so I thank you, and I think when this came up, it would have been very easy for you all to walk away from it. So I commend you for sticking with it, because, having seen Chester now at over 40 years old, it's an aging community in a lot of ways, and I think we need to do things to bring our youth out and to bring young people to the community. And I think that the park, in the way it is right now, it is such an asset to the community. And even, when you walk around the park and you see the benches that have been donated by all the members of the community, and it's even brought the business owners together, and it's just a wonderful asset. And I hope that this review and your findings will do nothing to detract from the positive momentum that the park is making right now.
Thank you, Wendy. Thank you very much. And Wendy, you brought up a comment that I'd like to make, and that is, again, this isn't something that's well known, but you all would be amazed at the thousands of dollars, and perhaps, and in many hours, but thousands of dollars that was gifted to the park board, or to the park, by residents. I mean, so when you look at the park, what we have done, whether it's the repairs, the painting, the landscaping, the installation of things, and the lights, realize that a lot of things that you see wasn't taxpayer dollars. It was people or service organizations or individuals stepping up to the plate, donating their time and money. And so for that, we applaud those people. And if some of you are here, we thank you.
I mean, the park benches are donated all by individuals, and I mean, I've never seen a park with so many wonderful places to sit. It's wonderful.
And there's going to be more. Mike, did you ever?
Yes, please. Just to piggyback on the most recent comments here, even though Chester Township zoning resolution does not recognize any park in Chester, the property itself was donated to Chester to be used for this purpose in 1811. So it's over 200 years old of dedication Chester has had to that park. And I'm very proud of that.
And if you look at that plaque that's on, I call the Plymouth Rock, right by the bandstand, it recites who gave it to us. And the last name is Hudson in 1811 or whatever. And then there's some testimony that he wrote, but what's really important, the last 2 words that's engraved in the bronze plaque says, quote, that the park is to be used as a park forever, comma, forever. We would like John South, and then you.
John South, I'm a Chesterland resident, and I'm also with the Chamber of Commerce. And we throw this thing called Chester Fest at the park every year. And most of you probably know about it, but we held it at Orchard Hills. Some people don't know that this year is the 4th annual Chester Fest. The first 2 years was at Orchard Hills, and it was a nice event. We had a couple of 300-400 people there, but this past year we moved it to Parkside, thanks to Lance and Joe and Clay. And we had estimates of 2,000 to 3,000 people there within a 5-hour time frame. And it's a day that the business owners all give back to the community. We've got food there from the local restaurants, and everything's only a buck. We've got activities like a rock climbing wall and a giant slide and it's Chesterland mechanical bull. And they're all free. And we've got area bands, pretty good bands, Lance's bluegrass band, Top Dog, and they all play for free. And it's just a really nice time, and it's a time for the business owners and the charitable organizations, I guess, Kiwanis and Rotary and Lions, to all pitch in and showcase this great park. So it's nice working with you on that.
Well, John, if you all don't know John, you can't imagine. He was basically the heartbeat of the Chester Fest. I mean, John and Wendy from the chamber were amazing. But John, would you like to tell us what day it is and what the hours are?
It's August 23rd. It's always the Saturday between Murray Hill Feast and Labor Day. It's noon to 5. And just come and bring a blanket and sit down and enjoy the park.
Thank you, John. Thank you very much for that. Karen, I think you had your hand up.
Karen Austin, 11490 Christine Drive, Chesterland, Ohio. I guess I'm piggybacking off of what something Lance said, and a lot of this money is not taxpayer money. Back when I first took office as fiscal officer in Chester, the board at that time decided to forego the park board's inside millage and keep it for the township. That was the 3 trustees at the time. So they took away the park board's funding because they felt that there was too much money that the park board had. And they were not getting timely information from the park board. Not the 3, not 4 people that are up there now, or the 2 that were just appointed, but a different board. Through the 8 years I was fiscal officer, the trustees still didn't feel that the board deserved that inside millage back, our tax dollars back to the park board, so that our money could go to help beautify this community. Everything had to go through and be analyzed, and the same as what I see right now is happening, is every single expenditure has to go through a very scrutinizing process. And the board that Mrs. Caputo and Mr. Joyce were on were very adamant about not giving the inside millage back also. Okay? That inside millage would help these people. Because right now, most of the money, a lot of the money comes from the township through the scrutinizing process. But it also comes from their hard work, the Lions' hard work, the Chester Chamber of Commerce, Kiwanis, all of these volunteers. So that inside millage that was taken away from the park board, and Mrs. Mueller was the one that spearheaded taking it away from the park board, would really be nice to be seen to give back to the park board so that they could continue. We have a board in place that is doing something for this community.
Thank you, Karen. I'm sorry. Great.
I wasn't totally, but I guess I am.
Well,
Thank you
no,
very
I
much,
didn't mean
sir.
to. I'm sorry.
And I have a question.
Yes.
I have a question. Ms. Asa, since you have experience being the fiscal officer of, you were the clerk of the township at the time, you raise a point about the level of scrutiny and detail that goes through reviewing every one of the requests. Do you think that the situation that presents itself now with every request going, since there's no lump sum inside village that's coming, that every individual request for an expenditure that gets vetted by the township trustees and that it's also vetted by this board, do you think that that's a duplication, an unnecessary duplication of efforts? Is that another reason why you think there should just be the lump sum inside millage granted to the park board?
As long as the park board would give and make public their books and records, which has been the problem when Mrs. Mueller was on the board and when Mr. Joyce and Mrs. Caputo were on the board, trying to get records from the park board was really worse than pulling teeth. And so you could never really get a handle on what they were doing with the money, what was going on. And I believe that was probably the major issue of pulling the money back, because they were accumulating funds, and the board was not getting any type of, when they requested it, we're not getting any type of reports back.
Because when I read in the minutes in 2002, I believe, when that inside knowledge was brought back, that the stated purpose of bringing it back was that the park district had a reserve because they were getting that inside millage on a regular and steady basis for a number of years, and if you get the money, you put it in the bank, and you don't spend it, you've got a reserve. So I think the Board of Trustees at the time, at least their stated intention of reasoning for bringing it back was that there was a reserve and that there were needs for that money for other recently acquired park lands. So
I'm kind of surprised you said 2002 because I didn't think it was back that far. But at the same time, it has been all the way through my term in office that trying to get financial information from the park board was a tremendously hard situation. And that is probably why the trustees felt the way they did.
and what years were you clerk?
I started in 2004 to 2012.
Yes, Wayne.
Thank you, Lance. Wayne Williams, I'm a Chester resident. I was on the park board during that time when the trustees removed the inside village, and revisionist history from my recollection, because we met with the trustees time and again and tried to, after the inside village was taken away, our budget was basically down to almost nothing. I think we had some of the bed tax from the county, percentage of that. And unfortunately, John County doesn't have a lot of hotels, so that was a large sum of money. But at any rate, I could say that whenever records were requested, I know I personally tried, myself, Bill Rogers on the park board, time Ron Downs at the time, bent over backwards to try to please the trustees and give them whatever they wanted. It was a difficult task. Like our records were open, they were public record, and they were public record at the time, they're still public record, and if anybody wanted to see those records, they were open to them. We sat down with the trustees on several occasions, open meetings, and presented our records openly. So I'm not sure where that's coming from these days. But I also wanted to say that as a member of the park board at the time, when I came on the park board, I think it was 2002, and that was the same year that inside village was taken away. It was a very difficult task to try to get things done. Our goal became just trying to keep the park up, making sure it looked good, making sure the landscaping was done, and that's basically what our budget would do. We had, if you remember, we had a large Christmas light display. We had beautiful reindeers and Santas and snowmen. We could no longer afford to, with our budget, could afford to maintain that, so we had to sell it off for pennies on the dollar. It was just a difficult situation, so I applaud what this park board has done. I've known Joe for going on 30 years now. I've worked for him, with him, and there is no one more passionate about people and about doing the right thing. That is the man that will do the right thing for people. He's trying to do the right thing for this park board and this community. So I applaud you, Joe, and I thank you.
Thank you very much, Wayne. That was very kind. Thank you very much. I saw another hand up, and Joe and then Maureen.
I am Joe Vitale, and I'm Maggie's son, and I've seen how hard she has worked on the park board, and Mr. Weiss. I did an internship with him, and all the time he would be asking me to go up to the park with him and check it out. So I was up there trying to fix things, clean it up a little bit, and I see my mom work a lot on her own time, going through minutes, and just trying to make the whole place better. And they all have worked hard. I've cleaned up with them after Christmas, cleaning up the Christmas trees. In the spring, it was real cold one day, and all the park board commissioners were out there. We were cleaning stuff up, just trying to make it look nice.
Was your internship?
It was for my high school, and it was just following him around as a lawyer job and other stuff. But he would bring me up here to show me what was going on, and I thought it was real cool.
Got a good lunch,
So do you want to be a lawyer?
Sure.
Thank you very much. Yes, Maureen.
Hi, I'm Maureen Mooney. I am a Chester resident. I also work for the Chester News, but I am here on behalf of myself, not the paper.
Is it Mooney?
Mooney, yeah. I was born and raised in Chesterland. I think I told Joe before talking to him that I have never seen people at Parkside on a Saturday or Sunday with their families before last year. And now, I've gone there with my nephew, I have 8 brothers and sisters, and we've had picnics there, and we've just gone to the gazebo and hung out, or took the kids to the playground, and it's really great to see that. As part of my job, I also know what it's like when people aren't very nice and criticize you for something that you don't agree with. However, I think it's important to know that all of them are volunteer and they're passionate about what they do. They all have families, they have grandchildren, they have their own children, they have lives. And they do this every single day, and it's really, really important to them, and they're passionate about it, and it shows in all of them. So, thank you.
Thank you very much, Maureen. Thank you so much. That being said, too, and we'll get to you all for sure, is that I think that we really, really, really are a very transparent board. I think that we document very, very carefully everything that we do, every dollar we spend, and so that if there's ever a question of the legitimacy or the authenticity of what it is that we do, you're more than welcome to just simply request a certain item that you're curious about. So we try to be very transparent, don't we, Peggy, Joe, Patty? I mean, all right. Judy, you were next, I think, and then Judith. Yeah, Judy, Judith.
Sorry. Judy Caputo, 12982 Lynn Drive. Couple of things I'd like to explain to Ms. Trapp. As a trustee, I was a trustee from 2006 through 2013. I believe, and you can pull the records if they haven't been given to you, on the revenues that the township trustees had given to the park board throughout that whole time. I know that in 2013, I believe I did $150,000. Prior to that, there was $80,000. One of the things that I think that you should understand too was that the prior park board, okay, there was turmoil and transition going on within their meetings, issues by particular residents at the meetings, to try to basically derail any positive things that were going on in the township. And it's very hard and disheartening if you get to talk to Mr. Rizzo, would be a prime one to talk to while he was the commissioner. When they're trying to do their business and they're trying to expand the park, and we were dealing with the grant issues and things like that at the time, of constantly being torn down at their meetings and being drilled, okay?
I've read every single minute,
right.
Every single meeting.
Right. So that aspect I can understand if there was an issue as to public records. I can tell you that when I was a trustee, different than when Mr. Cotton was a trustee, the park board, when they wanted their funds, would come with a list of what they were looking to do, okay, and take that same list to the budget commission. And there was never, I believe, a year that I was in office that they didn't receive some revenues. I believe when Mr. Rizzo was on the board, he was looking for like $75,000 maybe that they were looking for in a given year, but they may have only taken 42 from the township in regards to how that was being done. I don't believe that they should have to go under the scrutiny that I have seen. I mean, if they have a list of projects and the township trustees want to support the park and fund the park, and they give them the list of this is what they want to do, they don't answer to the Board of Trustees of Chester Township. They answer to the probate judge, and they're going to answer to the state auditor, and that's the way that the system is set up. I think it's sad that none of your 3 trustees are here tonight to be able to answer the questions as to the scrutiny or why they are saying what they're going to give or what they're not going to give. I think that's kind of sad because this is the township, and they had their meeting at 3 o'clock today, and none of them are here. That's a shame.
Thank you, Judy.
Gentlemen, I can answer why the trustees are not here. There was a meeting today at 3 o'clock, but there was an executive session late tonight, and that's where they're probably at.
All right, the hour is moving on, so we'd like to call for the last, yes, Judith. Yes, I'm sorry.
My name is Judith Schwade. I live at 11259 Lake Forest. I know Peggy. I know the rest of the board members very well. I've worked with them. They are absolutely devoted and committed to the job that they do. And you've heard so many other people testify to that. I do know, I should say, what is in the review. I'm extremely offended by what a few people have done to this board and what they have accused them of and questioned their integrity. And I hope that all you people here tonight will stand behind them and support them as I will.
Judith, stay up. Don't sit down, please. And the reason I say that is because you are worthy of a recognition. Would you care to tell them what office you hold and what service group you are?
I hope that as you drive down Mayfield Road and as you approach Caves, you look at the wonderful historical village that is there. 5 acres of pristine property, of which I've been president of the foundation for more years than I care to remember.
I'm going to clap you. You are so dedicated. I hold you in we hold you in high regard for your dedication, and you're like a trooper. I mean,
Aren't you, Charlie?
You're amazing. And you know what else? You're a tough act to follow. Yes, Mike.
Mike Joyce, 12195 Reserve Lane again. 2 quick comments. While I was trustee, there was never any discussion about returning any millage to the park board. All 3 inside mills, directly or indirectly, went directly to the road department. And I would implore the board to do whatever is necessary for you to pass your own levy so that you can totally remove from the political pettiness that takes place in Chester. You deserve your own destiny. You're doing great work for Chester. You have to be independent. You have to get away from this kind of stuff.
Thank you very much. Yes, we've only got about a minute or 2 left. Joe. Joe, would you please?
You can go first and I'll go last.
I'm Luann Marks. I'm the other half of Bill Marks, Chester Monada. We live in Geauga County, but not in Chester. We live in Chardon. I work outside of this county, but I represent the whole eastern region for University Hospitals. And they approached me a year ago, and I can tell you I'm very skeptical. I represent wellness for University Hospitals and their initiatives, and I have to thank this board for the gift of life that you've given to this community. I don't think people realize. Every day in our hospital, we have about 4 people come through our doors in our emergency room, which the people can attest to this, on overdoses. And to see youth out here, but not only youth, to see our seniors and all of you, we need this. We need more parks. I'm going to tell you, we have metro parks everywhere. Chesterland didn't have anything. And what you brought here is amazing. Chamber came to me last year and asked if we would help to sponsor Chester Fest, and I can honestly tell you, I look at that very closely because if it's not wellness associated, I would turn it down. And I personally came out myself. I'm a director, but I came out with one of my staff members because I really didn't think it was going to be successful. And I worked it. I was amazed at what they did. This year I was looking for the opportunity to be here again. We will support that fully because we truly believe that we can give back to you. There's a lot going on in our society today, and I think we have to recognize it. Our seniors have nowhere to go. Our youth and our seniors don't speak to each other. Our youth don't even talk to each other. They use cell phones. This gives us an opportunity. People don't want to dig in the ground anymore because they don't have anywhere to do it. They live in apartments. They live in trailers. People have to leave Chesterland because there's nowhere for our seniors to live. They live here their whole lives and they have to move. And what is that for them? So I tell you, This park is needed, and more of them are needed. And we have to think about that. 3 years ago, Geauga County was ranked the fattest county in the state. It's not something I want to say, let's put that in the record book. We put a wellness program together 3 years ago, and I can honestly tell you this year, by the Center of Health Affairs, we were ranked the healthiest. And I think we're moving and progressing, but it's only going to happen if people pull together and stick together. So if a few people can't sign their name to that document, shame on them.
Thank you so very much for your well-said message.
Can
One
I
last.
make one comment?
Yes.
Luann with University Hospital bought the first bench. That's where it all started. These two conspired with each other, and I was showed this plaque, and that's where it all started. Well,
That's one last question, Joe. And while he's standing, we want to say that this is the gentleman that owns, or is co-owner, partner in H&M Landscaping, that is doing the wonderful landscaping and maintenance in our park. So we thank you, Joe, again for a wonderful, wonderful job. That being said,
I'm Joe Mazurko, Kirkwood Drive. I've been out here 40-some years. I was once one of these young kids running around the park. This park just had a baseball field, no lights, no gazebo, no volleyball, no horseshoe pits. So I've seen this park evolve over the years here. I hate saying it's been 40 years, but unfortunately, it goes. My dad used to pitch horseshoes in our backyard. So it was one of his dreams to be able to play horseshoes in the town that he lived in. And him and Bob and a couple of the other guys, they got this stuff going up here at Parkside and doing the horseshoes. I played baseball on this baseball field, and he's done a great job in switching it from where it used to be. It's a shame, and I just say this from my heart, because I've been paid to do some stuff up here, and they've asked me to do some free stuff, and I've done some free things, but it just shames me when the center of this park and our school system cannot keep this community together. This park and that school will make everybody in this town be proud and have good values to your house. I'm on a committee, and I'm sure some of you have heard, we're putting a turf field in at West Geauga. We had to convince the school to step out to spend some money on their own because we couldn't raise all the money. But it just pains me when people come together, they can't all pull together. Just a few people, they always get hurt the most. It's always the squeaky wheel that gets hurt the most. But there's a group of people here, and there's a group of people out there that don't speak, that they want good things for this community. So, on behalf, I love this community. Hopefully, I'll be able to die in this community one day. And there's a lot of good people here. So, to the park board, I commend you guys. And, if you need anything, you know where to call.
thank you, Joe, for your dedication. At this time, I'd like to turn the final thoughts over to Mary Jane.
Well, thank you. I mean, this has been so helpful. It helps me put names and faces together, because everyone that's spoken here tonight, a number of you, I've seen your names in the minutes, I've seen your names in the records, and I appreciate your commitment to take some time up to come up and participate in this open discussion and forum about your park district. One other thing that I would like to just to clear the record in terms of funding for your park district. The sources of funding for your park district right now are the Chester Township trustees appropriating money. There is something called the local government fund, which you may have read about in the paper, that used to be big, now it's small, for everybody. and there's the library fund. So the local government fund and the library fund basically comes together, goes to Sharp and the Budget Commission, doles it out to the libraries in Geauga County and to the park districts in Geauga County. So with that, I thank you. If you want to talk to me privately about this, you can't do it because everything's public. I take notes. But if you want, I encourage you, if you're not a public speaker and you want to give me some input, to contact me. You can send me an email, you can send me a letter. I'm at Thrasher Dinsmore in Dolan. We're in the book. But I would love to hear from you, but please get it into me within the next few weeks because I'm already starting to draft my report. But the most important part of my report is going to be the public comment session. So thank you again. Thank all of you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mary Jane.
I will let you continue your work.
Well, thank you, Rich. We're going to, I don't want to use the word break, but we're going to have a 3-minute pause while you...
There's a sign-in sheet. Will everybody that didn't sign in, sign that sheet before they leave?
Of course, I think it's in the back. Okay. No, that's okay. As we have some administrative things that we have to do, you're welcome to stay. We applaud you for coming. We applaud you for staying. But don't feel like you have to, because what you're going to see now is really boring stuff. So and we will not be offended.
He's got